The Bible has the answer. The questions are yours. I go to the Bible, God's holy word, to find answers. And thank you for sending these questions for our use today. Let's get to question number 1 right now. Mark 5 verse 2 and Matthew 8:27 conflict. A viewer says, were there 1 or 2 demoniacs in Gadara? During my undergraduate years at the University of Toronto, I took several courses in philosophy, and one that was most helpful was on logic, and it's followed me across the years since. I was taught never to assume what is not clearly stated in a spoken word or a written word. Now, Mark speaks of 1 demoniac, but Matthew tells us that he had a companion. Nowhere in the Bible are we told that this demoniac in Gadara did not have a friend who lived with him also amongst the tombs. What Jesus said to the second man, we are not told. The Bible focuses in on our conversation, Jesus' conversation with the first demoniac, and the demons were cast out of him, and you remember went into the swine, and the swine went down and were drowned in the water. John chapter 21, verse 25, tells us that there were many miracles that Jesus did that are not recorded in the Gospels. And this is one. We don't know what Jesus said to the second demoniac, but certainly there were at least 2 there at the time. And now question number 2. If Jesus was God, how could he not know the time of his return? Matthew 24, verse 36. Well, the answer to that lies in the statement in Philippians chapter 2, where we are told that he who was in the form of God thought it not robbery to be equal with God, but made himself of no reputation and humbled himself. It was Charles Wesley who told us that Jesus emptied himself of all save love. Well, the Gospels tell us that Jesus increased in wisdom and knowledge and favor with God and men, so he grew like a normal human being on this earth. And one of the things that Jesus humbled himself from was his omniscience. And so Jesus chose in his humility, his voluntary humility, not to know the time of his return or to share that news with his disciples. And now question number 3. Does Luke 16:9 not contradict Luke 16:13? Only at first glance. Verse 9 tells us the wise use of money. If you have the mammon of unrighteousness, use it to make friends who will welcome you into everlasting habitations. Verse 13, in contrast to that, tells us the abuse of money. Some people use money to glorify God. Some people make money an idol that they worship and live for. And of course, it's right to use the wealth God gave you to advance his kingdom. But it's totally wrong to make that gold, that money, into an idol that you serve rather than that serves you and the work of God. Thank you so much for these good questions that we have tried to answer today, and I trust the answers have been helpful. If you have a question you'd like me to use on the Bible as the answer, please write it out, send it to me. I'll be pleased to hear from you, and I'll get to your question on the air just as quickly as I can. And when you write, all the address you need is simply Faith to Live By, Box 426, Winnipeg, Manitoba, and the code is R3C2H6. Rick now no more night.